Over the years, I've experimented with training as little as 2 days per week and as many as 7 days per week. And although any of this can work to varying degrees, through all this trial and error, I found that the best results have come from training 3 to 5 days per week. While even 1 to 2 weeks is plenty, if your goal is simply to maintain muscle mass, get healthier, maybe even build some muscle if you're a ranked beginner, but it doesn't really allow you to dedicate enough time or work to developing the entire body evenly. Again, it can work, but if you have more days per week and you want to dedicate more time to training, you're definitely leaving gains on the table by not at least giving yourself 3 days per week. Now, anything more than 5 days per week, and you really start to push your recovery abilities to its limit. And when training 6 or even 7 days per week, you're just redlining your recovery ability. And you're pretty much always walking a fine line between stimulus and recovery. In order to pull off this high frequency training, you have to be extremely methodical about what you're doing. And there's almost no room for error in the exact amounts of sets you're performing every single workout and every single week. Not to mention the average intensity of every set you perform. But simply training 3 to 5 days per week, that range gives us much more flexibility, to the point where almost anyone can get great results, even if not all their training is optimal. So that brings me to my favorite split, number 1. For guys who would only train 3 days per week, we have the 3-day full body split. With this split, you'll train the entire body on 3 non-consecutive days, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This is a classic approach from the 50s and 60s bodybuilding. And although generally the standard full body training split is 1 workout done on Monday, then again on Wednesday, and again on Friday, this meant that the workouts ended up generally being longer, up to 2 hours at a time. I've experimented with this split many times over the years, and I've refined it to a way that I feel is far superior to run the 3-day full body split. And that is, instead of doing that same workout 3 times per week, you still train the entire body each session, but now you have 3 variations of the full body workout. Full body workout A done on Monday, full body workout B done on Wednesday, and full body workout C done on Friday. This variation not only allows you to have more variety and variation from workout to workout, but now we can conquer a common challenge that most people face when training full body 3 times per week, and that is that certain body parts, especially the ones that you train later in the session, tend to get less attention and tend to have less quality work done, simply due to fatigue. Now with this ABC full body setup, we can separate each workout and prioritize specific muscle groups in each session. For example, a full body A on Monday, we can train the entire body, but with a focus on all the pushing muscles, the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps. We'll train those muscles first in the session when we're fresh and at our strongest. And then we'll follow that up with the back and the biceps and the entire lower body later in the session. Generally, we'll hit these body parts with less taxing movements. Now, full body workout B will now start with the lower body. We'll hammer those big compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, and hip hinges. And then we'll finish off the full body workout with the rest of the upper body, again with less demanding exercises this time. That's plenty of fly movements, lateral raises, biceps and tricep isolation exercises. We can do cable pullovers, etc. And then finally, that third full body session on Friday will be a pull focused full body session, training the compound back and bicep lifts. That's heavy rows, pull-ups, etc. Then we'll train the rest of the body to finish off the session after. This ABC full body style training is something that can be used even by advanced bodybuilders. While the traditional 3-day full body split is often looked at as a beginner routine, doing it in this fashion makes it much more suitable for guys that are way past the early stages of bodybuilding. Now, the next split that I love, if someone has 4 days per week to train, is the upper and lower split, or the torso and limbs split. While these are 2 separate splits, the only major difference is that on the upper-lower split, you train the entire upper body in one session and the entire lower body in the next. You take a day of rest and then repeat those 2 sessions. With the torso and limbs split, you'll train the chest, back, and shoulders in the first session, the entire upper body except arms. And then you'll save that arm work, go into the next day, which is the lower body session. And you'll first finish off the biceps and triceps and then move on to your normal leg work. Take that same rest day the following day, and then repeat again, just like the upper and lower split. Now, depending what your needs are, you can flip-flop between these 2 splits, the upper and lower, and the torso and limbs. If you need more upper body emphasis, especially the arms, the torso and limbs is definitely your go-to. And if you need to focus more on lower body work, stick with the traditional upper-lower split. Now again, just like the 3-day ABC split we did for full body, the upper-lower and the torso and limbs could have variations to each workout. And in most cases, you actually should do this, especially if you're beyond the beginner stages of lifting. In the case of 4-day training splits, I like 2 variations for each workout. That's 2 upper body workouts or 2 torso workouts and 2 lower body workouts or 2 limb workouts. The upper body or the torso workouts can be divided up into 2 sessions. An upper body push focused or an upper body pull focused. Now, the lower body sessions or the limb sessions can also be broken up. One focusing on the quads or squat movements, and another on hip hinges or hamstrings. This again takes what many would consider a beginner training split and allows even an advanced bodybuilder to focus on bringing up weak points. It allows for more variation and more intensity and focus. But most of all, it allows for long-term progression. Now, another very effective split, and possibly one of my all-time favorites, the 5-day hybrid split. This trains every body part twice per week over just 5 days as opposed to 6. Now, traditional antagonistic splits like Arnold's chest and back, legs, shoulders, arms, or push-pull legs, generally, if you want to hit those body parts twice every week, you have to train 6 days. But being that up to 5 days per week generally allows for more recovery ability, I actually created this by taking the benefits of those 2 splits, Arnold's antagonistic and push-pull legs, and combined it with the basic upper and lower split while still allowing for more recovery. If you have 5 days per week, and you see the value in these traditional splits and upper lower training, but you want to dedicate more time to your lifting, in my opinion, the 5-day split can't be beat. Let's say someone wants to train the upper body and give it a bit more attention than what the traditional upper lower split really will allow for. A great split to follow this would be chest and back on Monday, legs on Tuesday, shoulders and arms on Wednesday, Thursday rest, Friday upper body, Saturday lower body, Sunday to rest. This split allows for higher quality sessions and more focused upper body sessions, all by limiting the amount of body parts trained in each single session. Now, training fewer muscle groups during a workout will ensure that the workouts are higher quality for each individual muscle group. Your attention will be higher, your effort will be higher, and this avoids some of the fatigue that sets in from a very demanding workout. With this setup, you only train the entire body in one workout 1 time per week. The other 2 upper body days are now broken in half. Chest and back on one day, and shoulders and arms on the other day. This allows you to train both those muscle groups when fresh. But the beauty of this split is that you can move things around to fit your individual needs. Again, you have 5 days to train. Maybe you have great shoulders and arms, but you really want to bring up your chest and back. So instead of training the chest and back in one session, breaking them up into 2 separate sessions will allow for more individual work for each one of those muscle groups. If that's you, another variation that I personally love is Monday, push, Tuesday, pull, Wednesday, legs, Thursday off, Friday, push, Saturday, pull with an emphasis on the posterior chain. Sunday, rest. You now have 2 pull sessions, one that you can focus on chest and the other on shoulders and triceps. Now you have 2 pull sessions, one you can focus on the lats, and the other you can hammer the big compounds with rows, hip hinges, and deadlifts. In this workout, you're also getting a second session in for hamstrings with those hip hinges. In essence, training 5 days per week while still hitting every muscle group roughly twice per week, focusing on your weak points, is the goal of the 5-day hybrid setup, and it can always be altered to fit your needs. Now, focusing on training just 3 to 5 days per week while hitting each body part at least twice per week. That's the core of my old school mass gain training system. And all 3 of these splits can all be plugged into that system. And once you have that system in place, it's no longer about following a random workout or routine, but training built on principles. And if you want access to my old school mass gain training system, click the link below. Remember, the goal is balancing stimulus and recovery while avoiding overtraining. That's the key to building serious muscle long term. And if you want more of the best original bodybuilding content just like this, make sure to hit subscribe.